Yeah, I think we might have gotten all our off the reservation cooking done
Sure.
in that last game there. YouTube really trying to get after it. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what else to say there. But listen, that's why these events are exciting. People pull out all the stops, go for what they can to get the wins when they can.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to tip the captain. That's what keeps these mayhems interesting.
Wow. Also, we are getting a whole lot of love in the channel points category. People are actually pretty split decision. Some good amount on Mewtwo and on Curse. So this is gonna be, if that is anything to go by, some good odds here to make an exciting matchup.
I hope so. And it looks like Cursed watched the previous game and they're saying, okay, we really can't let this Inteleon through here.
Yeah, good instincts. Good instincts when you're going up against a team like that. Take away that devastating option from Muk, force them onto something like the Venusaur that takes a little bit more resources than the Inteleon. Let's face it, that attacker is just so self-sufficient.
It really is. And the fact that it gets online so early is nice as well.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to hit that level 9 to get into its final form. So Inteleon really looking great here. First pick is the Zacian. No surprise there. Mhalinaqi going to be the QB on that Pokemon without a doubt.
Yep.
But I like where Cursed went immediately. They're going to go for a shut-down Pokemon like Slowbro. And that's the big slow beam energy we need. Quickly locked in, though, is the Urshifu, the thing that YouTube banned against Cursed 2 games in a row.
Yes, this is going to be our first showing of Cursed on this Pokemon. I'm sure it's going to be Buzl. I think they really, really enjoy playing the Water Baron Central. So I think we're going to see that yet again. Mm-hmm. Now, what do... I have Cursed on both sides. I'm so sorry. I'll fix that right now. I'll put Mewtwo on one side.
Yeah, no sweat. So 2 evolutions chosen by Mewtwo here. And if you look around, I mean, Chimi was great on them. Real Player 1 had great Sylveon games as well. Of course, you know, we're all waiting with bated breath where Chad goes with their support pick here. And no surprise, I think TheeeChad has 22,000 games on Sableye. So,
oh my word, that's numbers.
That is also one I just completely made up. I have nobody.
Okay.
I have no idea. I kind of thought you were going to go, because that seemed like an astronomically high number. I kind of thought it would be like out of the realm of possibility. But the fact that you like snap believe it now has me concerned with how many games Chad has on Sableye.
Yeah, I think we're all concerned as a community, and we should really say something to him about it. But instead, I think we should show the love by going to that link in chat, !TheeUnites, and voting on Unite's first awards show. Going to be happening this Friday on TheeeChad 69's Unite channel. It's going to be so much fun. I hope to see you there. 22 seconds left in our final preps. I don't think we're going to see many changes coming through. Instead, we got that Venusaur Blissey duo like I was talking about. Nudo returning to the Blastoise in the top path. Last time we saw this, it was a really tough matchup into the Zacian on the other side, and it's going to be even more repetitive this time when Mhalinaqi is going to be the top path player and hanging out there a whole lot more than Phil's central play.
I think you can make an argument it might be a little easier because there's not going to be a true support character going along with Zacian here. So Mhalinaqi won't get the comfort that maybe we saw Fui get, right, in the hands of like a Kilo on the other side. So, you know, maybe Nudo feels like they got a little bit of a better chance here.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a fair credit to say. They'll also have Kira's help in the top path like they did in the previous game, where Aznable and datboiMuk will be rotating down towards the bottom path. One interesting question that is going to come up for me, though, is where does Uzi go off the first rotation? Last game, it was into that bottom path, especially when they were on the Cinderace, and, well, this time they have the option to go top or bottom, but if I'm guessing correctly, it's going to be trying to avoid the Zacian at all costs off the early game and just go into bot path and try to get a better result.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and really help Muck out on that Venusaur to try and scale up wherever they can here. Quickly is TheeeChad stealing a buff for themselves and trying to make it back out of dodge, and it looks like they're going to be successful in this endeavor as Kiri chucks a mitt at the little gentleman, but that is not enough to stem that tide as they're circling right back. Going to go invis here and make a move for the Acelgor.
And they're not alone any longer as Chimi's Leafeon has hit that level 4 and so much burst damage from the Solar Blade, absolutely eviscerating them. Chad finishes off the KO, but the KO opener comes from Chimi's Leafeon.
Nice clutch up by Kira to make sure the Leafeon doesn't leave with the blue buff, so shout out to them there. But poor Cubfu, still level 3, just ticked over to level 4, but that took way too long. Boosted Auto gets the spacing, but Chimi is there, and that Squirtle is gone, and now we're going to get some points in. So Mew Psycho, great early game out of them.
Yeah, I mean, demolished Curse Team's early game on the other side. Buzl is trying to engage with currently, I believe it is Headbutt, and Karate Chop. Not exactly the options you want to be pushing into an enemy goal zone with. However, that score is going to get them the Water Bear. Resurging Strikes now online, and they choose the aggressive path.
They choose the aggressive path, but those Mew Psycho, they choose the bodies, and everybody's getting buckled here. Booz is in the front line, KO streak of 2 for Mhalinaqi, and now it doesn't matter how much movement you got through the speed flux zone, there's too many players hunting you down, and that is a quick KO. Mew Psycho getting a bunch of KOs in this one early.
Yeah, looking so strong. Sableye playing interference on one side, the Zacian just getting critical hits left, right, and center. I mean, so far, those have been paramount in their early game dominance from Mhalinaqi. Nudo trying to contest it, but yet again, Uzi finds themselves not alone in this central area, but this time they find the red buff and they find the KO and a Chad. Sweet revenge for the Urshifu.
Yeah, well, not really, because Chad doesn't care. Like, you know, I mean, it's like a goblin in D&D, right? Like, you go through your first dungeon, you get fed like 100 of them little fucks, right? So it just doesn't matter. And all of a sudden, Curse is like, well, Buzl wishes he got quality KOs, but instead it's just TheeeChad again.
Yeah, I totally agree with every word you said. Exactly. That is some good analysis. I like that quite a bit. Chad, again, going in that feint attack, so a lot of little poops being thrown around the map and multiple bushes caught out. So much vision gain for their roster.
Yeah, and that's what you need, is the surf comes through, and Mew Psycho able to peel back over on top of their goal zone. The scores are going to try and go in for Curse. Solar Beam comes through, tons of damage on the Sylveon, caught off by Buzl. Good start. They're mean look down, but nobody's there for the follow-up. Finally, Mhalinaqi is here, but it's a 4-on-1, and they're getting deep in the weeds here. They want Muk. They're going to engage on Muk. Muk is still standing, though. That Giga Drain doing some work for them, keeping them on their toes. Finally, what it did is it bought enough time for Curse to get some points in, and then pivot on top of Mhalinaqi. So that Giga Drain really showing how it's valuable in those particular situations.
Yeah, anything that can knock out a Zacian right now is going to be valuable. Give me every option we have, and we'll take it. Good job from Curse to take down this early game raid boss. However, number 2 is just stepped up to the plate, and Chimi gets a huge KO onto the enemy Blissey.
Following up those Buzl, they're up to 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can we get 30 hits? We can't get 30 hits, but we can get KO'd quickly. So that was an impressive looking Unite move until you realize that it didn't get any KOs for that effort. And they were quickly dispatched once Mew Psycho pivoted on top of Buzl.
Ooh, Beyblade build this time around. Nudo not going into the Surf Stoice. Instead wants a little bit of an engagement tool for damage. You know, that is a solid option to have. You can get into the backline, hit those evolutions, and maybe even force this Sableye into a spot where they don't want to be.
Yeah, well, Hydro Typhoon and a Solar Beam for a Sableye KO makes it happen there. Mhalinaqi is just hiding out. They're looking for their opportunity. They actually get to reset for free, so they got to feel like they got away with one right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like a good spot for them. And Chimi and Buzl kind of dancing around a 1v1, but Buzl's got absolutely no interest in that because they get eviscerated. Leafeon finds that KO, takes a Unite, a Solar Blade, but both of those in tandem, absolutely monstrous amounts of damage.
Yeah, nice Solar Beam is able to keep Mew Psycho from pushing anywhere further, and really Kira's the stitches coming apart, but somehow keeping these two pieces of fabric together. That is the Curse squad here. Coming out, stopping a big overdunk, and able to buy, again, the time that Curse needs to pivot and find themselves defending their goal zone, which is sitting at 2.
I mean, they're really doing this damage to Regieleki quite slowly. They're trying to bait out Mhalinaqi, who's taken it and has found themselves all the way in the backline. But Muk's taking so much damage. Eject button forced out defensively onto that home goal zone, and the auto-aim technology does not find its mark.
No, not this time. Mhalinaqi does get good pressure put on them by the Blastoise here. And meanwhile, we got a basement Reggie objective. We got a Slow Beam coming out for a single target here. The 2-step is there. The KO on the Slowbro is there. And the Regirock is theirs, meaning Mew Psycho 100s. Meanwhile, Regieleki flowing the other way.
Aznable falling on their proverbial sword, I guess, for this exact moment. They are going to break that goal zone. They hold on to a score lead, but real player won, and it looks like maybe even Shed actually looking to get a back cap scenario done. Kira and Uzi, though, in tandem to knock out Mhalinaqi, who, again, in these later stages of the match, as soon as we tick over that 5-minute mark, it feels like the Urshifu and the Venusaur have started to catch up.
Yeah, finally, and that's what Curse needs, to be able to scale up and get into the mix here. Nice pressure by Kira to make sure that Mewtwo is babysitting their buffs and not allowing them to take, which is, again, just burning some time off the clock, getting the time that Curse needs to get the Blastoise and the Venusaur even further ahead.
Yeah, big level scaling Pokemon are going to look even more fantastic as the game rolls on, especially if, like you said, they get those resources and they get those wild Pokemon. Now, I said that they maybe have this Zacian figured out. Obviously, they're keeping Mhalinaqi to level 11 at 320, but I think a bigger problem is they don't really have an answer to Chimi quite yet, who's getting essentially everything they could have ever wanted. They eat a Solar Beam to the face, but at level 14, is Leafeon still walking away from that team fight relatively unscathed.
Yeah, big KO on Buzl, like you mentioned. These evolutions don't have to concern themselves with their Unite timer too much. That two-step's going to be back just in time for Rayquaza. So that was a good expenditure of that to get more experience on top of that Leafeon. But if they get caught here, that is going to flow back the other way. Rapid Spin Water Spout getting sealed up. Great work by Nudo to get that KO. That is a huge crop of experience for them.
Yeah, Chimi using every resource they had as well to make the escape. Their one dash move, an eject button kind of around a corner, but nothing can outrun Nudo's Beyblade as they chase all the way and find that knockout. It's a tough spot to beat for them, obviously. Snarl from Falsoon to kind of give a do not chase me deterrent, and they get the escape, but with 30 seconds left, I'm pretty confident that Curse is going to be able to secure this basement Reggie objective.
Yeah, TheeeChad is scrambling around the backside of the map, just working on getting vision for the team. They're going to understand exactly where Curse is going to be for the Rayquaza here. It's coming up in 10 seconds, and these score lines are very, very close.
And look at Nudo kind of second guessing. As soon as that little Sableye icon comes up, they start rotating back a little bit on your mini-map. But Curse team with absolutely all the space they could have ever wanted. Rayquaza Pit looks like it's theirs, and the flag has been flown above it. But the rest of the squad of Mewtwo 100 are kind of splitting out. Real player one attempting a Hundo Burger dunk. Nudo quick to the defense.
Yeah, Rapid Spin Water Spout is sitting on top of them, but an 80 banger goes in downstairs. That goal zone still stands, and all of a sudden Mewtwo has the lead. So the pressure's on Curse to make a move here. They're trying to space out, but they got to realize they need this Rayquaza to make some magic happen. Nice little Unite move. They're stunned down. The engagement happens. They're putting the pressure on forward. Nobody's down yet. Rapid Spin Water Spout is chasing, but it doesn't find anybody, and Mewtwo stands tall here, forcing out the Unite move there, caught into the blenders, the Leafeon. They get gobbled up by Buzl. That's an exchange for one. Rayquaza's getting ripped. Hydro Typhoon is up. Tons of players are getting hit by Mewtwo. 2 players down. The rest of Rayquaza is pretty much free. TheeeChad is sitting there. Can they catch anybody with their Unite move? Bliss Distance into the middle is going to catch that reset, and secured on that back is Buzl. Full team wipe for Mewtwo 100. They're all sitting in the respawn point here. Cursed getting it done.
I mean, that got so scary. The Sableye was still up for just a moment, but the last hit being secured. And even if they stole the Rayquaza, I mean, 4 players were down. Curse really had this match in their hands, no matter the scenario in those final moments. Really impressive endgame team fight from them. As hard as Chimi was carrying in a few of these engagements, I think they threw all their resources at keeping Mhalinaqi up in that scenario to try to have their best chance at just securing a Ray, despite everything, but I don't know, it just didn't feel worth it in those final moments to me, and well, Cursed are currently racking up their score lead as I think it all comes on the back of a big team fight win previous.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like Mewtwo is sometimes split between like a scoring approach and a more traditional approach to the game, and at this point, if you're going to go like lean full into the scoring, the Sableye action, I mean, I want to see Dark Tech. I mean, I want to see the Babadook. I want to see the Babadook comp. Like, you know, get yourself Mhalinaqi on Tyranitar or something. You know, use that to stem the tide on your goal zones. And then really lean into it right now. Because this splitting the difference stuff, it looks great for a decent amount of time, but they just did not have the score lead they needed to make that happen. And when Cursed finally pivoted and said, okay, we'll just catch all the bodies then. That's fine. That's exactly what they did, leaving poor Sableye standing in the middle. Yeah, like you said, prayer shot by the Sableye, but even if they take the Rayquaza, 4 players were down. Cursed immediately dispatches that Sableye, no questions asked. Like, they're not making it to score. There's no chance. And they get all their points in anyways. So, look, Mewtwo has found themselves in the finals. But I kind of feel like they're stuck in between two identities. How do you feel about it? I mean, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing, or I'm just kind of
and I think what kind of identified it the most was that final push play where Sylveon went top and the Sableye went bottom, which I don't hate. I know that one of those points are going to be successful. Most teams will only dedicate maybe one player to be defending goal zones in that kind of scenario. So I don't think it's a terrible plan. However, I see what you're saying, that kind of desperation to catch up with the scoreline, running a Pokemon like Sableye, who's very efficient at back caps. However, you're still trying to win a final team fight, so I do get that split decision. I honestly just think it was just resource allocation was the problem they had in that final moment. Mhalinaqi being resourced so much, it kind of left Chimi out to dry, and you even saw in the final moment, Chimi rotated to try to help defend the Urshifu. They charge in to stop that, but Mhalinaqi is able to escape, but Uzi just takes the KO onto Chimi. And in that scenario, I'm like, I would have really liked the Leafeon to still be around in these final moments to land a clutch Solar Blade, to take out one of these big Pokemon on the other side. But no dice from them. I would like to see Mewtwo 100 rotate back towards maybe that Espeon that they played earlier on with that stored power. I think that'd be a decent option into the Blastoise that I think was a huge problem for them. Once Nudo hit 9, it felt like that was the momentum shift that Cursed team was looking for. And Mewtwo 100 really was like, it was Leafeon or bust at that point. So, I don't know. I think Espeon would be a cool new look to try out. Or old look to try out. One of the two.
Yeah. Bring like hits from the oldies, if you will. I mean, that's a great call out. I don't think Real Player One had any business trying to score as a Sylveon. If you give up your Sableye, you can buy enough time for a Sableye to come back. If you lose your Sylveon and your Sableye, you're in obviously deep water. But if your Sableye scores and you lose your Sylveon, that's not really a positive exchange either. Yeah, flip the script a little bit, maybe a little bit more dialed in on what the strategy is. I think they thought they could get away with a cheeky one there, and it just didn't quite pan out that way.
I also just think, I keep bringing it back to the Espeon because more and more in my mind that is what I want to see them play because I think it works so well. If you think about just the synergy between Zacian and Espeon, I mean, you hold anybody still for a moment, Zacian just gets absolutely fed. And I think a scenario like that, Espeon tossing them all up, just kind of sky high, and the Zacian is able to jump on, deal a ton of damage. That's a great angle for them. And that's sort of how they beat GT, right? 3 Unite moves from these evolutions kind of done in tandem. Dodging abilities, halting other abilities in their tracks, Umbreon stealing shields. If you can use those in quick succession, it's amazing. The problem is you need to be bulked up together as a team, grouped up in that scenario, and be able to kind of communicate, drop this, drop this, drop this. You need a good shot caller, you need to be in position, and need to be kind of in a favorable spot macro-wise. So those are a lot of boxes to check, I will admit that. However, I think it looked very, very good in their first match tonight, so I'd love to see it kind of brought back again for our match number 3 here.
Yeah, that's a great call. Something I'd like, maybe a little bit more of a tactical approach or a different tactical approach I'd like to see out of Mewtwo is if you're going to run rampant with Sableye, I want to see them insulate around their goal zones a little bit. Worry less about pushing objectives and stuff, and you literally let the Sableye bring the score lead into your favor, right? You let them run. Yeah, exactly. You let them run roughshod around the map. You don't care out how many times they get KO'd. You might even make the argument that you don't even need the experience share because you're always sending them on the solo mission, right? You just send them across the map over and over and over again. And you really just kind of turtle up, focus on your wild experience, challenge the objectives that you feel comfortable, but really don't sweat those middle fights, kind of those off fights we were identifying before, and see if that can make a difference for you. if they're gonna stick to the Sableye, like it seems like they're pretty committed to it.
Yeah, that seems like that is the case for sure. And it's always funny when, as analysts of this game, when we get into scenarios like that, we're like, we start pivoting away. We're like, I think this choice might be better. This choice, it's like, all right, listen, the game has changed. We have a Sableye. Let's try to figure out what else we can make work. And it seems like this team is also in that scenario. Obviously, their alternate seems to be Eldegoss, which also not advised by this board or your medical staff. So it is something that we definitely want to be rethinking about. Now, just heads up, one player did have a bio break, so they're taking a short break. We are not going to remove one of their bans. Do not worry, chat. But I will say, one thing that does need to be said is someone please drop !TheeUnites in chat. TheeeChad, a player playing in this very match right now, is running Pokemon Unite's first awards show for the competitive community. It's going to be a whole lot of fun this Friday. If you follow that link that DoopsNext just put in chat, you'll be able to vote on some really cool categories. It'll be just like the Emmys, just like the Grammys. Go be a part of it this Friday. I believe that's October 6th. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah.
6th. I've got you. One more thing we need to shout out. TheeeChad has been a consistent supporter of ours at Unite Mics. Has really helped us bridge the financial gap so that we can put Unite Mics Mayhems on. They are sponsoring this week entirely. They have completely covered the prize pool for this week. They've donated in prior $100 to help grow the prize pool for the week 4s. So TheeeChad really putting their money where their mouth is, believes in this community, and supports it in a way that is very, very impactful. So the biggest of shout outs to them. Please do us a favor, do them a favor, show up to the Unites this Friday, jump into the chat and show that support that they so very much deserve.
Absolutely. And they've been talking in chat as well, but TheeeChad with 3 E's and then 69 at the end is their Twitch channel. Go ahead and follow that one already so you're notified when they go live, but just to support a real awesome community member. It's the spot to be. All right, draft for game number 2, Zacian secured by Mewtwo absolutely no surprises. What do Cursed want to respond with in kind, though? I mean, obviously, game 1 worked really, really well. Not much to shake up, as Aznable is going to be taking the Slowbro instead of the Umbreon in their position yet again.
Yeah, it's really a testament to how quickly Chimi and Mhalinaqi can take over a game. Like, having the slow beam shutdown is incredibly necessary for Curse right now to keep the game under control, and that's why this high priority Slowbro pick is there. I am a little bit surprised to not see Umbreon out of Mew Psycho. I think Umbreon and Zacian specifically work really well together. Mean look, and then you just throw a Sacred Sword in the middle of it, and it seems to have some pretty satisfying results there. So Nudo going right back to the Blastoise there. You said it was a problem, and it looks like Curse is going to make it a problem again.
Yeah, they sure want to. Almost identical drafts on either side, but Mewtwo 100 is actually to grab the Trevenant as their final selection this time around. Falsoon going to be playing that Pokemon. When we saw them play it last, it looked really fantastic. Running Razor Claw on that Pokemon. Interesting. Oh, that's just Chimi. Well, we'll see what happens when they rotate. Oh, and Cursed is going to be grabbing the Zoroark. Buzl going to be grabbing this amazing speedster Pokemon. High damage output, big risk, big reward, but with a player like Uzi, who's got, incredible mechanics, has been playing this game for quite a long time, they can put on a show for us here in our grand finals of week number 3.
Yeah, Buzl's great. And of course, they're going to be able to go to the Centrals area. Kira needs to get in their pocket. Even maybe instead of Kira, you do Aznable just for the water gun secure to make sure that those buffs stay on your side of the map, right, with your team.
Yeah.
But really, once Buzl ticks to 5, Muk needs to jump in the middle, get themselves scaled up, and then it's just off to the races, right? Yeah. You let Nudo live up top, don't even contest the first basement Reggie, and you try and leverage these 2 Kanto starters to cause the static that Buzl needs to engage, and again, then you are quite literally off to the races. One clutch slow beam, and any one of these team fights can just be over.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. It's going to be... interesting to see if that plays out exactly like that, right? I mean, Slow Beam with the capitalization of damage in terms of Solar Beam and Zoroark dashes, that's a whole lot of damage, but I wouldn't even call that a sure thing, right? Like,
Right.
Aznable is going to have to play those, or is at least going to have to communicate those Slow Beams extremely well, or at least use them maybe defensively. If a Leafeon's charging in, you just grab them and hope the rest of your team is well awares enough to kind of pull the trigger on that other angle. I like the Zoroark adaptation, though, from Curse Team. I think CT picking this Pokemon is just clear evidence that they know they're going to be invaded off cooldown, just on repeat again and again and again. So take a Pokemon that's a little bit faster of a central clear. Zoroark, honestly, even the Zorua, one of the fastest clears in the game.
Yeah, which it needs, because Azura is a paltry endeavor here, and TheeeChad makes out like a thief in the night with another red buff here. That's almost why I would have preferred the Slowpoke commitment there, because Chansey also has a pretty decent secure in path early, but Water Gun is just one of the most incontestable things. Nice pull up by Chimi with the Solar Blade. We saw that in game 2. Seeing it again here, we saw that in game 1. Seeing it again here in game 2 is really like a linchpin of kind of their early game offense, if you will.
Yeah, it's cool to see Mewtwo 100 kind of have this ironed out early game plan that so far, I would say, has been uncontested by any team that we have seen them match up against. I mean, the biggest thing was kind of Espo hate drafting the Sableye in game number 1 with GT, but, well, obviously we saw how that one worked out. Also, I don't know if Sableye has a win yet on the day. No, that's not true. Mewtwo 100 won game number 1. Okay. So outside of that scenario, though, we'll have to see. Falsoon, trying to... Oh, sorry. That was Buzl. I have been baited by Zoroark Illusion. I am a normie, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, KO'd quickly is Buzl, the real one here, with the KO Shriek of 2 to Chimi. I mean, this player has been incredibly impressive all night long, and really, to me, like the silent MVP of Mewtwo 100. I mean, we talk a lot about, the Sableye invades, just because they're a little bit more theatrical, right? Yep. It's something to keep track of early, but Chimi, like, steps up and just knocking them out of the park, left, right, and center. Just no real chance here. Real Player 1 as well has been playing really well. I've been impressed by Mewtwo 100 all night long. For real.
Absolutely. They're tournament grinders as well. Like, we've seen them in Underdunks, we've seen them in so many events, and there we go. Real Player 1 putting on the show, KO streak at 2, and then we have the Leafeon stealing the 3rd one as Chimi just absolutely executes that Slowbro. Goodbye, Aznable.
I mean, you saw the Sableye scored and the little like gesture hands pop up, and that's like the understatement here. Nice little Chad engagement there. Just that tiny little stun that they got was enough to close out the goal zone. Quick follow-up KO. And this is what like they started doing was death balling a little bit, right? Once they got that early lead, they were finding targets. Buzl's going in. They're a little heated here. Might be playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And guess what? They get KO'd for that effort. That Solar Beam comes through. Doesn't really deal much damage to Real Player 1. TheeeChad and Leafeon Trevenant taking the brunt of that, but they're going to make it back across the map. And Mewtwo is up early.
I mean, Mewtwo reading the kind of the scenario of the game, good game sense in the situation. And by that, I mean, Kira was still level 3. So you can play so aggressively because they have to run. They have no healing options, seeing as the Blissey's not available.
Doesn't matter. Blissey was available there. Everybody's getting eviscerated. And now you can really let, like, Mhalinaqi lead the charge, right? They are already level 9. I mean, look at these levels, homie. Like, what is going on? If I'm Mewtwo here, you kind of have to immediately step off the gas, because any KO you give up is just going to be massive comeback experience. And Falsoon, not really an exception, because they're also massive. But right now, you need to kind of turtle up, play on your goal zones, and don't give any of this back.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot. Uzi was trying to charge forward and maybe get a little bit of scoring. I think more so they were looking for the KOs, but I don't know if they expected to see Real Player 1 in that scenario. All that Mystical Fire goes toward the Regice in that spot. I don't know if that would be the perfect target for that, but Muk, all of a sudden, executed as well.
Yeah, but TheeeChad getting a KO streak of 2 in tandem with Real Player 1. They're going to get another objective here, and I love what Mewtwo 100 is doing, but they are miles ahead, Zoinks, and they cannot hemorrhage this back in the hands. Curse Team has a lot of solid players, and it does not take much for Muk to get a quick KO back the other way and come unglued on this team here. So I would literally back up, and you just start playing to your side of the map. And then, you let do that Sableye thing we were talking about.
Yeah, that's not a bad option, and all of a sudden, your dark prophecy starts coming true. It's only 1 KO so far, but Uzi and datboiMuk are looking for more than that. KO streak at 2, and ooh, Dupe's next. I hate to say you told me so, but you told me so.
I mean, they tried to engage here on Chimi, didn't quite get much, but now the Verdant Anger is out. KO streak at 2. Buzl was sent packing, and Chimi might be the shining light here, because if they can make that happen, they're in good shape. Now, please, Mew Psycho, just drop it down a gear. Like, you're in a school zone. Slow down. Like, come on.
Chill, Mew Psycho 100, please. Oh, and it is Surf Choice this game. Interesting. So Nudo swapping up the strategy. Maybe the Rapid Spin Water Spout wasn't the best play they had in that game number 1. They wanted a slight rotation, so they go with the Surf. Also going to help the Zoroark line up a few more attacks if you're just getting a bit of displacement. It seems like a good answer. But yeah, Mew Psycho 100, they clear lead in this scenario, and, well, I think they've cooled their jets a little bit. That one overstep of over-aggression certainly has gotten Uzi into double-digit levels, but ever since then, it seems like they've kind of took their foot off the gas.
No, which I love, right? Now you can, again, you let TheeeChad take over the game. Because you can hold you have such a high level lead, you can hold down a 4v5 team fight from your pad. You just can. That's where they're at. Meanwhile, I say that, and Chimi is just like going to score 38 on the backside. So is Trevenant. Like, they don't care. They said, Snacks, you wrong forever, perennially wrong. So who cares? Let's just keep going. Mhalinaqi's there. What else do we need? Doesn't matter.
I was actually going to say, to be fair, I mean, Mhalinaqi's defending the goal zone like you suggested, and the rest of the squad playing a little defensively with those back caps where they know they have full vision of all 5 members. Uzi caught up by one Woodhammer tick, was able to avoid the second. That is key as Aznable drops the Unite move onto Mhalinaqi, and the Zacian is completely gone.
I can't stop shaking my head, dude. Like, Buzl getting KO'd is whatever at this point, right? Because they're fighting from behind. Every catch that Mew Psycho gets is... Or excuse me, every catch that Curse gets is worth its weight in gold. So, I mean, just getting Mhalinaqi once is worth more than the 3 KOs Mew Psycho just got. Now they're going to get a ton of points in, right? Shatter that goal zone. Solar Beam comes out. Like, dude, the lead is 102 points. That's not insurmountable at Ray, but what is insurmountable was the level lead you had, so you need to hold on to that. Mhalinaqi coming back, KO streak of 2 there. Not a bad look, but look at this. Now, all of a sudden, Buzl's level 13, right? Yeah. They were like 11 40 seconds ago. Like, it's just...
Yeah, the KO one to the Zacian was interesting, right? Because the Zoroark was 12 and the Zacian was 12. So it was a parity KO, which is still giving over a sizable amount of experience. I think you were correct. These are little missteps that they're making. I will agree. However, I think, again, the VIP is this Leafeon. You cannot let this Leafeon get KO'd. That is the protect the president scenario that we are in for Mew Psycho 100.
How do they protect it? They don't, like... Yeah. Like, Falsoon better be in their pocket, son. The best better be the best horn leech of their career. Curse now, bouncing up the level sheet. All of a sudden, Buzl's the same experience level, and now they're going for the engagement. Okay, level 15. What do we got here? We got a lot of damage getting chunked in, and we've got Mhalinaqi trying to backdoor. So we got to watch the bottom part of our screen here, because when they go in, that's going to be all systems go. Buzl, I think, kind of sussed it out. They're getting on the backside, and Chimi wants Buzl in a bad way. That's who they're screening out. Meanwhile, Curse is kind of scrapping in the middle, but the pressure's on them to make some magic happen. Falsoon is way low. So, I mean, a quick catch from them can send them packing quickly as well.
Yeah, no healing, right? So every solar beam that lands on these enemy targets is so valuable. Leafeon caught out by the slow beam. Chimi tries to unite response, but they are executed by Uzi before they can land.
That's ridiculous, man. Now the engagement for real player, blue, that's not your target there that you want, but that's the one you're going to get. 2 players down for Mew Psycho, and it's Zacian and Chimi. It's Mhalinaqi and Chimi. Trevenant Unite catches 3. Falsoon's going to try and go in and have to do the Lord's work here. TheeeChad's on the backside. They've got no HP and don't really matter. Blitz is back to the middle. Rayquaze is getting gobbled up. Still 3 players down for Mew Psycho. 3 players down for Curse, and it's Falsoon coming unglued looking for it. Now we're moving through. TheeeChad putting little poopy turds all over the place, and Curse keeps getting shit on their shoes. They can't figure out what's going on. Now this Rayquaza is still standing. It's going to be a prayer play in the middle. No, Trevenant goes down. Curse takes it. They've got the score shields here, and all of a sudden, Mew Psycho, which was leading the pack the entire game, is going to find some hundo burgers getting absolutely laid in, and Curse is just one more score away from taking the lead here.
Yeah, that score is going to take it. Zoroark was knocked out, though, so a bit of hope put in the sails of Mewtwo 100. 30 seconds left in the game, and they are down by under 100 points. An opportunity to score, but with all the members except for Uzi being up for Curse Team, this is going to be no easy task.
No easy task indeed. Honestly, Muk just needs to get out of dodge, right? I know they're trying to stall a little bit, but they had a good opportunity to make it back. Doesn't really matter. They're going to push this goal zone, and it's going to be all on Aznable defended by themselves. Can't let any scores go. And if that 23 went in by the real player, that would have been the game here. But we're going through 16. Is that going to be the difference maker, Zoinks? I don't know.
I think it's coming up a little bit short. I need to double check when we see these score numbers rise from either side, but I think what we're looking at is a fast 2-0 as Curse Team hold on to the victory.
I've never been more upset at Mewtwo 100, dude.
Oh, yeah. It was a tough end game there for sure.
End game? Dude, what were they doing from 5 minutes on? They were like miles ahead. And they decided like, hey, just for like this is literally the like tortoise and the hare fable, man. Like they were so far ahead they decided to take a nap, and then they got smoked by the turtle on the final stretch. Are you kidding me, dude? Curse coming through, shout out to them. I mean, they realized what was going on and they got after it. And I mean,
shout out to Aznable for one of the best slow beam callouts I've seen. Like, I don't think they had any vision on that Leafeon whatsoever as well. Aznable just knowing that they're probably coming from that bot side and makes the call out and gets the shutdown, right? So, yeah, I do think there are severe signs on one side, but great capitalization from Curse Team. I definitely want to give the shout outs there as well. They're absolutely huge.
No, of course. They deserve all the accolades, right? They delivered on what they needed to when they realized how the texture of the game was going.
Yeah.
Mewtwo was feeling themselves a little bit, but like the most frustrating thing to me, Zoinks, in that game is how not rare, but it's very infrequent that a Sableye team gets that far ahead on levels and experience. And that is the perfect scenario to just play a Sableye game. Then you let TheeeChad go cause static, go score, you turtle up, you take your wild Pokemon, you take safe engagements on the objectives that are left, and you literally just grow your score lead without giving any opportunity for their team to score because you're a higher level and you can 4v5 them on your path. Like, it's so frustrating to watch that game because Mewtwo 100 literally put on a clinic on how the first 5 minutes of a Unite game should go, especially if you have a Sableye on your team. And then it looks like they looked around and said, all right, job's done, baby, and literally just took a nap, which is frustrating because there are great players on the other side. They realized exactly what was going on. And by that final engagement, yes, Chimi ticked over to 15, but Buzl was right there at 14 too, and they have the slow beam, which means they have the impetus to catch. It's frustrating. I wanted Mewtwo 100 to win that game so bad. So badly.
And it looked like they were going to, right? That early game dominance, so unbelievably strong. But you're right, obviously, a bit of an Icarus, a little too close to the sun, maybe, with those wax wings. Unfortunate, Mewtwo 100 putting on a great show today, though, taking down a team the caliber of GT, making it to the winners finals, falling a little bit short to a team who in their own right proves a lot of people wrong and had a lot of eyes turned towards them. Cursed team looking amazing. I know when we put exclamation mark teams, it's saying that it's Twitter. I'm sorry, Uzi really wanted to change their name to something blank T. I don't know. These teams and their name changes, they're probably going to change 4 more times until next week. Who knows? But either way, Curse Team putting on an awesome show. I mean, Muk getting target banned after one amazing snipe shot game for the rest of the tournament makes sense. It's looking so good. So I'm excited to see them next week if they can make it for that finals. And make sure everyone to tune into, just follow us on Twitter at the @UniteMike's Twitter to see announcements for next week's finals. It's going to be so awesome. Thank you for all joining us on this journey of Unite Mike's Mayhem for this season. It's been a blast. But I do want to shout out, of course, one more time, our sponsor, TheeeChad, for putting on for sponsoring this week's event. So thank you so much. And of course, go check out the Unites happening this Friday on the TheeeChad 69th Unite channel. Unite's first awards show. It's going to be so cool. Deuce next. Anything else we should shout out before we close this out?
Yes, pay it forward. TheeeChad allows us to put on today, has supported in the past, bolstering our week 4 prize pools and things like that to really give something for these players to compete and keep this competitive scene going in the off season. So the least we can do is show up on Friday night at the Unities to pay it forward, pay them back, give them the views. They worked hard on this award show as well. Exclamation point the Unities to vote on those topics, of course. So again, all the love in the world to TheeeChad out there. Chimi, shout out, like that, what a great game by Mewtwo 100 across the board. I mean, great squad. And again, shout out to Buzl for stitching a team together, because that was a fun team to watch too. So at the end of the day, we hop on Twitter, follow at UniteMikes to get all the updates. Muk is rating with a 70. Muk, we gonna send him right back in a different direction, my friend. Zoinks. Wrap this thing up. I love you all. Thanks for being here. You're the best.
Yeah, all agreeing with Deuce Next. Thank you so much to everybody. Gamma on observing, Psyche running the mod stuff. It's been so fantastic to have you all for help. Muk saying that we are your goats. Muk, you'll be happy to know we were way kinder about your snipe shots today because you kind of popped off. So, great work. I did see you miss that one solar beam though when you eject button down and you missed both targets. That was unfortunate. Loser. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Make sure to tune in next week for the UniteMikes Season 4 Finals. It's going to be a banger.